of speech and expression. Now, there is a principle which is evolved, my lords, in jurisdictions abroad and recognized by Indian courts. That, my lords, there could be regulation of non-speech activity if it is, my lords, to achieve a larger common good. That principle, my lords, which is enunciated, my lords, in United States versus O'Brien, is noted by the Honorable Supreme Court of India, my lords, in one of the judgments. I'll just give that citation, my lords. Bennett Coleman versus Union of India. I understand, my lords, now both the judgments have also been brought to court, my lords, and they'll be circulated to my lords. Bennett Coleman, my lords, is 1972, 2 SEC 788. That judgment, my lords, would recall is in the context of, my lords, newsprint policy, which was challenged, saying that, my lords, it affects the freedom of speech and expression. Ultimately, my lords, by majority, my lords, the policy itself was struck down. But the principle, my lords, is noted, which my lords will find at page 814, my lords, para 48.
Page?
Page, my lords, 814, my lords.
814. Paragraph
48, my lords. May I just place that? May I place that?
Yes.
The other American decision on which the additional Solicitor General relied on is US versus O'Brien. In O'Brien's case, the court held that one who had burned one's selective service registration certificate did so in violation of a federal statute, making the known destruction or mutilation of such a certificate a criminal offense. It was contended in O'Brien's case that whenever the person engaging in the conduct of burning the certificate intends thereby to express an idea, the idea of both speech and non-speech elements were combined to the same course of conduct. It was held that there was a sufficiently important governmental interest in regulating the non-speech element. The court noticed there that such incidental limitation on First Amendment freedom was justified because an important and substantial governmental interest was involved. The governmental interest was found to be unrelated to the suppression of free expression, and that the incidental restriction on any First Amendment freedoms involved was no greater than absolutely essential in the furtherance of the governmental interest. Then, of course, my lords, 49, they say how they laid down the principle, but on that case, my lords, the newsprint policy was found to be violative of Article 19(1)(a). That really doesn't make a difference. I'm on the principle, my lords. In fact, this approach, my lords, is adopted in some later decisions to justify prescription of a discord in educational institutions in the US itself. And why this becomes relevant, my lords, is we substantially, my lords, adopt that jurisprudence for freedom of speech and expression in the context of our constitutional scheme. There are one or two judgments, my lords, from that jurisdiction on that point. I'll have them circulated, my lords. I will not trouble my lords just now with all that. We'll have it circulated, my lords. But this is the principle that I wanted to place before my lords. Then one last aspect, my lords.
Yes.
The regulation in question, my lords, will have to be also understood in the light of the fact that, my lords, it is not intended to achieve the goal of interference with religious rights. That's important, my lords.
Which regulation you are talking
about? The concerned GO, my lords, the impugned GO.
Yes.
Now, the object or, my lords, the goal of that GO is not interference, my lords, with religious freedom per se. It only is to regulate, my lords, activity, as I said, my lords, as part of pursuing of education, as part of secular activity. That's the last aspect which I wanted to highlight, my lords. I therefore respectfully submit, my lords, that in the light of these factors, this grievance as projected by the petitioners, my lords, would not be really justified, my lords, in my respectful submission. I'm really
All right.
obliged, my lord, for a patient hearing, and my apologies for taking that extra time from my lords.
Thank you. Thank you.
Obliged.
Yes.
May it please, my lord. My lords, can I finish my rejoinder, my lord, because new petitions, my lord. My lord, we may have nothing to do with the lordships, may hear them. Lords, lot of submissions have been made, my lord. So I need to, my lord, get a little bit of time, my lord, to respond.
How much time you will take in rejoinder?
My lords, I will try to finish it today, my lord.
Today means still
Lords, in an hour, maximum hour's time, my lord. I'll finish within an hour, my lord. I will not take more than an hour.
Lord, may I say this, my Lord? Your Lordship may hear us.
Hearing me, new petitions.
Because this may be concerning Mr. Kamath himself
If
personally.
Mr. Kamath, it would be better if we hear all the petitioners first before we
Up to
start.
your
with the
lordship,
rejoinder.
up to your
Yes,
lordship,
that's
my lord. We are in a
that's
lordship's
correct.
hands. Whatever lordship.
Have-
Your Lordship's absolutely right.
You will have the arguments of all the petitioners. Then only you may give the rejoinder. It would be better.
Very well.
That's correct.
Whatever is not
Correct.
appropriate for your lordship, my lord, I will go
We
back.
will start with the fresh cases,
Yes.
whatever are there on board. There's a list. Hmm. Call.
1.1. Ramatula Purva.
Kindly, my lords, appearing for the petition and this review petition. My lords, I've filed the copy of the order with the memo. It may kindly be taken up. I bring your kind attention to para number 5 of the order, my lords.
The review petition.
Yes.
Ask you to fresh petition. We'll take up this afterwards. We'll take up this review afterwards. First, call the first petition.
Number 1.6. Aditya Chatterjee.
May it please, my lords, I'm led by Senior Counsel Ms. Kirti Singh, if she may be
Yes.
permitted to.
May it please your lordships.
Yes.
I'm not going to repeat any of the arguments on Article 25, your lordship, as it has already been extensively addressed. So my arguments are going to be.
You are for All
I
India
am for the
Democratic Association.
All India Democratic Women's Association, lordship.
Yes.
So one intervention, if Lordship's permit, before my learned friend starts.
Yes.
I just have only one request to be made. With this, I am instructed to submit before your Lordship's permits. The petition does not disclose as to first petitioner which claims to be an association is registered under which provisions of that. That clarification may be given so that it will help Lordship.
Are you a registered body?
We are not a registered body, your lordships, but we have fought. We are a mass organization of women, and we are therefore being represented by our Vice President, Vimla K. Vimla, and we have in fact fought several PILs on because of this, which the list whereof we have given. Even currently in the Delhi High Court, we are arguing 2 petitions, one on marital rape and another one. So this undertaking we had given, and we have given the list, your lordship.
Is there any resolution in
And
your
we are a
favor?
mass organization of a crore of women, your lordship, and the Karnataka chapter itself has 1 lakh women. So we are not of all creeds and comprising of Hindus, Muslims, Christians, and particularly marginalized women, the SC, ST women.
All right, before we come to the maintainability of this PIL, on behalf of the petitioner, first we would like to know as to, is there any authorization in favor of your Vice President, Srimati Vimla KS, who represents the petitioner number 1.
If I may assist, my lord, that's at page 86 of the paper book, my lord.
Page 86.
Please, my lord.
This is the Wakalat. This is the Wakalat.
The very next page after the Wakalat, annexed with the Wakalat, is the resolution dated 15th of February 2022.
The members have to disclose. Not say committee. Generally, chief has seen the members of the committee who attended, who was absent. That's how resolution should be. Otherwise, we will not know its credentials at all.
What is this resolution? It is signed by the one Devi. Which committee? What committee? What is the constitution of the committee which has met and took the decision?
Your Lordship, it's the Central Committee of the organization, which
it doesn't talk about it. Doesn't say what is the constitution of this committee.
Lordship, I in fact don't have a copy of Aditya.
With my lord's permission, if I may point out, my lord, the letterhead is of the All India Democratic Women's Association. At the bottom, my lords will see is the signature of the president, Ms. Devi, along with the rubber stamp that reads All India Democratic Women's Association, Karnataka State Committee, and the address, my lord. This is the extract of the resolution.
Cannot be treated to be a resolution, Mr. Very sorry to say that.
With my lord's permission, I'll only request if the entire minutes and along with the constitution of the organization has to be placed, I will undertake to place that. My most humble request is
even the constitution of the committee which has discussed the issue which you say the committee discussed the issue of dress code. Which committee?
The Karnataka State Committee, my lord, which is the rubber stamp that has been affixed at the bottom of the letterhead.
What is the constitution of this committee?
Place it. Please.
I will place it, my lord. My instructions are it consists of 34 women elected from across the districts of the state of Karnataka.
A petition on behalf of an organization like this. You have to annex the resolution, the proceedings and the decision taken in that meeting, disclosing the constitution of that body which is taking the decision, and thereafter, where is the authorization?
My lord, the president is authorized and the authorization is in the last para. Hence, the meeting unanimously resolved that Mrs. K.S. Vimla, Karnataka State Vice President, to sign all pleadings, affidavits, memos for the purpose of these proceedings. My request is, my lord, if for all the additional documents, including the constitution of the organization and the entire minutes of that meeting, I will place it on record.
The resolution is not signed by only president. It has to be signed by everyone, whosoever has attended the meeting.
There's an extract of that, my lord. I'll requisition the entire minutes book and I'll place it. My only request is if my learned senior could address the court, I will ensure that whatever additional documents are required with an affidavit are placed on record.
Yes. All right, now we come to the maintainability part of it. How you agree?
Your Lordship will see that the second petitioner is...
You are espousing the cause of women in general.
Your Lordship, we for the last many years, since 1981, have been taking up issues concerning women.
Before the court. Madam, the agreed persons are before the court. You don't have to espouse the cause of anyone who has not come before the court. When they are there before the court, what is the need of you to come and espouse the cause?
No, because we have other women who have different grounds on which to come before the court. The entire picture has not been put in front of the court, including the legal picture. I'm not here to discuss the factual matrix. I'm here to.
Please go and assist the persons who are said to be aggrieved and have approached the court.
Your Lordship, the second petitioner is
before the court. You
Your
cannot.
Lordship, in the Supreme Court, we have intervened. We have filed petitions. In the high courts, we have filed petitions across the country.
We know about our court. In this manner, we cannot permit you to espouse the cause of the persons who are already before the court.
No, it's not only the cause of the persons who are already before the court, it is also the cause of many Muslim women who are part of our organization.
Only to the students, and those students who feel aggrieved, they are before the court. It is not general for the all people at large.
No, it is only, but every issue. I appreciate what your Lordship is saying, but it is every issue that affects, for instance, the petitioner number 2 is a person who has 3 children who are school-going children, and she is aggrieved by this. So therefore, it's not only the petitioner number 1 who has members who are deeply affected by this order, by the impugned order. It is also
interest and public interest cannot be mixed.
I will just put across 2-3 arguments to your Lordship. Your Lordship may consider it. I realize that your Lordship has very little time. I will not repeat the arguments on the ground
satisfy us on the maintainability of your petition.
Your Lordships, I cannot say except that we are a genuine party. Your Lordship can see that because of the undertaking that we have filed, of the number of petitions that we have filed. We filed both at the level of the lower courts, at the High Court and on the Supreme Court. Your Lordship will see we take victims of violence to the police. We go and argue their case and help them argue their case in district courts. We come to the high courts when an issue is involved. So your Lordship will see if your Lordship will just go through pages, if your Lordship will see at page 4 of the petition, that's where your Lordship will see paragraph 5 on page 7 of the petition, where I have detailed to some extent, obviously not a very great extent, of what we have been doing, but we are a well-recognized social work.
We are not on your credentials. We appreciate your concern, but the thing is, your petition would not be maintainable when the aggrieved persons are already before the court.
Your Lordship will see that there are people who are members of our organization who are also aggrieved. The woman who is in front of petitioner number 2, who is in front of you, has also 3 children, and that is why she has come to this High Court. If you were not concerned with the issue, if you are not aggrieved with the issue, yes.
Sorry, we are not satisfied regarding the maintainability of the petition. We will pass the order.
Your Lordship will see that I just wanted to bring up the issue of freedom of expression and the limitations that could be placed on it, and say that this order is directly affecting our right to education and access to education.
Aggrieved persons are represented by very, very competent lawyers. Very, very competent lawyers are there appearing for the aggrieved persons.
But this
if you want to add anything more to that, please assist them.
Your Lordship will see that. Lordship will see that we wanted to argue on the ground of equality, Article 14 and 15, and then say that the onus of to prove that the impugned order can satisfy 19.2 has to be on the state, which the state hasn't discharged. So, will your lordship not hear me?
Thank you. Next.
Lordship, nobody has brought these arguments before your lordships, and that's why I've come. Nobody has spoken of the different principles, and that shows that we are an organization which will put the women's perspective in front of your lordships, besides which the petitioner number 2 has a right to address your lordships.
No, Apex Court has said personal interest and public interest cannot be an admixture in PIL jurisdiction. Therefore, even that argument does not avail you.
No.
That's what the Apex Court has said. If you say no, we are helpless, except dismissing the petition. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll hear you in some other matter.
Your lordship, this was a matter which was of national importance because there's no reason. The girls are wearing their uniform. There is no reason whatsoever why the hijab, which is just a headscarf, should not have been permitted. In the schools, we are not against uniform, but we have to see what is the least restrictive way of saying of not interfering with the right to education that these girls have. And it has been the judgments of this court that the right is a fundamental right concomitant with the right to life. I just wanted to bring in the whole spectrum of rights which these girls are entitled to, the right to choice, the right to freedom of expression, which can only be curbed by
all they have argued 1.5
reasonable.
days.
Sorry?
All they have been argued with 1.5 days with foreign judgments, not only native judgments.
No, the freedom of it, but there has no explanation been put why Article 19.2 will not apply to it. Why strict scrutiny will not be paid to this. The court is under an obligation to strictly scrutinize the legislation. And why the wearing of scarf is not causing any public order if there is a reaction by members of a certain party.
Number 1.7, Mr. S. Balakrishnan.
Is 1.9, Mela?
1.7.
3942 of 2022.
Balakrishnan.
3942 of 2022. Mr. S. Balakrishnan. Beautified. What are the office objections? Okay. That be the next. This is again not mentioned. As per rule 41.
You have to strictly comply.
In fact, 1.7, Shreyas Balakrishnan.
In spite of repeated call, no one responds for the petitioner. to press this writ petition. As per office report, the following objections have been reported. This public interest litigation has been filed without complying Rule 14 in bracket 1, High Court of Karnataka Practice and Procedure for PIL Rules 2018. The writ petition in the given facts and circumstances is not maintainable, is accordingly dismissed, as well as for non-prosecution.
1.8, Mohammed Tahir.
Appearing for the petitioner, Lordship, in 1.8 and 1.10, Lordship, I seek leave from this honorable court to withdraw both the petition, Lordship. 1.8 and 1.10, Lordship.
1.8, write down. Mr. Mohammed Tahir.
Appearing for the petitioner, Lordship.
Counsel for the petitioner. The writ petition has been filed seeking following relief. Mr. Mohammed Tahir, counsel for the petitioner, makes a statement at the bar that he does not want to press this writ petition. May be dismissed as not pressed. The writ petition is accordingly dismissed as not pressed. The same order may be passed in writ petition number
1.10.
1.10.
Yes, Lordship.
Yes.
0.9, Munir Ahmed.
Yes, I'm appearing, my lord, in this matter. I rectified earlier the errors. I was given a liberty by this honorable court. I've explained the cause of action in para 12 of this petition. It was your lordship's magnanimity that time a liberty was given to me. I have explained more, my lord, perfectly the cause of action in para 12.
Paragraph.
Yes, the petitioners all along since beginning of their academic stint were usually wearing the hijab by mode of putting the head scarf and no time hided the face and their hands as has been uncovered only after 5th, that is after the issuance of the impugned government order. Produce herewith the school authorities compelled and insist the petitioners to remove hijab, head scarf, in default whereof the entry was prevented under the garb of impugned government order also. Therefore, it is respectfully submitted that the cause of action has accrued to the petitioner on 7th and on 9th, when on the basis of impugned government order dated so, they were denied entry to their respective institution by respondent number 6 and 7 in connivance with unscrupulous elements while wearing hijab by stating that there is a government order which was wearing a hijab is in the institution, thus the petitioners cannot enter the institution premises while wearing hijab and a cause of action occurring. This my lord has done. Now your lordship, with my lord's permission, my lord, I am a little bit.
All right, who are the petitioners?
Yes, I have said it in para. They are students, my lord. Yes, I have said it in para 4.
No, this is a government college.
Yes.
New
Yes.
Horizon College.
It's a government.
Chaitanya Techno School.
New Horizon is not a private, it's a private institution, not a government institution.
Sir,
Yes, is a regular studying there. There we have been also denied. That's why I am before your lordship. It is not because I am on a FedEx. They said that you cannot enter. You cannot enter, that is the problem. Yes. My lord, I can assist you all. I have read the Arabic Quran also. I would assist your lordship. Yes.
you have said that you are studying in New Horizon College.
Yes.
Both are private schools.
Whether
Yes.
this is a government college.
The private.
But there we have stopped, my lord, at the entry gate. That's why I'm submitting. On 7th and 9th, they did not permit us. And they said
You
you
are
to
not
remove the hijab and then come.
You are not answering my honorable chief's question.
Yes,
Please answer.
please.
Whether they are government colleges where the petitioners are studying. These both
But-
the institutions, whether they are government aided or government colleges.
These are government aided, my lord, but we are studying there and this
I
is a
know
fact.
it because that school, I have studied in that school. I have studied.
Yes.
It's in Indiranagar,
We
I
were-
know it very well.
We were
Yeah.
prevented there, my lord. That is why I am
Private
before you.
institution.
Otherwise, unnecessary, we will not give trouble to your lordship.
New Horizon, I
We
know.
have been prevented. They did not allow us. That's why I'm on the affidavit. If tomorrow it is proved that we were not prevented, your lordship can give us any punishment. But this is the fact. I am narrating to your lordship. Now, since I have read the Arabic, my lord, I can assist you in the proper way so that your lordship will resolve the controversy in right and legal perspective. Your lordship is before your lordship, my lord, because nobody has till date convinced your lordship, as my lord's Honorable Chief Justice query was, how it is an essential religious practice. I have read the Quran. I can't say that I have a complete knowledge in the Quran. I am not a Hifiz. I am not an Hifiz, but most of the Quran verses I know. This will enlighten to your lordship, my lord. Your lordship may kindly appreciate. Before your lordship are three important issues. Number one, to prove it from the verses of Quran that it is an essential religious practice. If it is provided in the Quran, then your lordships can agree to my submissions. Because where is the source? Source is, my lord, commandment from the Allah. There are two surahs. Your lordship can appreciate. One surah is Surah Nur, which would mean adornment, the beauty. That is why it is called Surah Nur. It is very important. Nur is adornment, a beauty. And then Surah Hijab. These are the two surahs. Now the controversy regarding hijab. There are 3-4 kinds of burqa. One is a burqa. We call it a big gown, like a gown shape. Then another is abaya. It is covered, it's a long and having a very much gap. It would cover even the feet. That's called abaya. Then third is ihram. Ihram is only, my lord, at the time when Muslims would go and perform Hajj. That's also one of the body you can cover it. But as far as hijab is concerned, I will give the full background which has not been given by anyone till date. That's why you will also see the hijab is mandatory in Islam. How it is mandatory? It has come in the Quran, my lord, at the last, it's the last commandment from Allah. It has come in 4th Hijri. You will also note it down. In 4th Hijri, Hijri is 11 days less than 1 month. It has come in 4th Hijri. By that time, the Quran was almost complete. There was no such commandment from Allah till my lord, the 5 obligatories came into being. It came last in 4th Hijri. The first thing, it came after the first ordained, the first commandment from Allah is the obligatory daily 5 prayers. It's essential. 5 prayers. Nobody can say no. It's another thing whether all Muslims will go or not, that is something different. Then the second is, my lord, zakat. Zakat, I will translate it to you. If Muslim person is a rich, if there is any poor, irrespective of cost, you can give zakat to him so that he will be also financially sound. Then the third one is rulings of inheritance. In Quran, my lord, inheritance is also defined. We the Muslims say how much girl would be taken from the inheritance, how much share the boy will take. This is also defined in Quran. And this is obligatory religious practice. Then the fourth is fasting during Ramadan, as your lordships are aware. Fast is a compulsory religious practice. And there is also exception to fast. If somebody is old, infirm, or ailing, then he has to do it. But after he will recover from ailment, it is mandatory. Then 50 is, my lord, 50 is zakat. Of this is also very important.
What is 5th?
And my lord, till these 5, my lord, these principles were laid down in the Quran.
Which one?
There was nothing murmur. There was nothing mentioned in the Quran about hijab. About hijab, it was not till it came into being. The only thing, my lord, even after the commandment of Allah regarding marriage and divorce, these were the initial ingredients. This hijab came during the 4th Hijri.
Please.
Hijri is, my lord, a calendar month of, my lord, Arabian, different than Georgian. Your lords may kindly appreciate.
Once again, sir, Honorable
yes,
wants to know something.
Please.
Which was the 5th command?
Yes, 50 is, my lord. Yes, first is 5 times prayer, zakat, and Hajj is also there. Hajj. Your lords may kindly appreciate. How is hijab now? There is absolutely no, the word hijab is not in the Quran. I will give you, my lord, the very important. In Quran, my lord, the term hijab refers to a partition or a curtain, a sort of curtain. It's in Quran. In the literal or metaphorical way, it is a screen of some sort of partitions an individual from another. It is important to clear that hijab is mandatory, and even the wives of the Prophet would wear it as mandatory. Same is explicit in Quran. Now I will read Surah Ahzab. My Lord, Surah Ahzab, why I will read? This is very important, Your Lordship. I will be given permission to recite some verses of Quran also. I'm conscious that Your Lordship may not be in a position to understand the Arabic which I would recite to Your Lordship. But why I'm reciting? So that there will be a confidence and trust in me. I will not mislead to Your Lordship. Being a senior advocate, I will try my best to the best of my capability to apprise to Your Lordship about the Quranic verses. That is why I will recite Quran also to Your Lordship, so that Your Lordship will be having absolute faith in me. That whatever I am submitting, it's on the basis of the commandment of Allah in Quran. I will never mislead Your Lordship, so that Your Lordship will resolve the controversy in right and legal perspective. Now I will come to you. In our modern interpretation, nowadays we commonly refer to hijab as a scarf Muslim women wear on the head. But this is not necessarily the same used in the Quran. The term for head covering in the Quran is known as khimar. The khimar has further originated. This has not been explained to you, Lordship. The khimar has, everybody said khimar, but where from it has come, I am highlighting that to your Lordship. The khimar originates from the trilateral verb, khamna. Well, this is khamra. Your Lordship may notice, I will give Khamara, khamra, which means gatha. Your Lordship may say Ghatta, gatha. And my Lord, then another thing is very important, meaning thereby to conceal, hide or cover something. Let them wear khimar over the jayub. Jayub is a, my Lord, covering the chest. In Arabic, we call chest as jayub. The spelling is Juyub. Jayub is originated from the Quran. And that would mean chest. You have to cover scarf, the hair, face and chest to protect your privacy, to protect your modesty, to protect your chastity, and to protect your, my Lord, all your Muslim values. Your Lord may see. Then from the verse we understand that the believing women are instructed by Allah to wear the khimar to them, to drap it over the chest. But that is the real purpose. We have to cover three things, my Lord. We don't say that we will go in a burqa to the schools. Absolutely not. We would confine our arguments, my Lord. The chest is a small part we are covering. The head, face, and the chest. These are all three vulnerable parts. My Lord, vulnerable parts, so that there should not be an attraction. Rightness people would gaze at the women, because these are very sensitive parts of the body of a woman. That's why in Quran, in Surah Ahzab, the Quran has revealed, it has been revealed to Prophet that you should ask your wives, ask your daughters, and the Ummah should wear it and cover. That is why, my Lord, in this way, Allah. Then in our common among us, the women of Jahiliyat, why I will give a background of this hijab. My Lord, before the advent of Islam, my Lord, before the advent, 1500 years before, during the Jahiliyat, we said intolerance time, when there was no existence of God. It was given by our Prophet. And that time, this practice was very much prevalent amongst the Christians. Your Lordship would see, day in and day out, the Christians would also wear a type of burqa. And this scarf, head scarf, during Jahiliyat, even before the advent of Islam, was very much prevalent in Arab countries. And then they would call it, what they will say, it was commonly amongst the women of Jahiliyat pre-Islam to wear a head scarf. It was a bandana type. They called it bandana. Bandana type style of head covering that was wrapped and then thrown to the back. This was at the time referred to as khimar. However, when Allah revealed these verses and used the word khimar in the Quran, not then confuse the two styles of khimar. What Allah said, Allah instructed the believing woman to bring their fabric to their front by drawing their khimar over the chest as a covering. This is the nutshell. We have to cover the chest. It is mandatory. It's a question of life and death for us, my Lord. We don't want to destroy any secular service. How does it matter? I will come to that also, but let me approach your Lordship. Narcissistic ideologies are just that. Narcissistic ideological should be left there with the ignorant. The wearing of hijab is a commandment from Allah, our creator for the protection of believing women. My Lord, may kindly appreciate. We Muslims believe that this is a temporary right. Now I'm coming to the verses of Quran, which I will narrate to your Lordship. To have a confidence, I know the Quran. I'm the best person to my best ability that I will assist regarding the Quran, if it's an essential service or not. Then I leave to your Lordship with judicial wisdom. Your Lordship can see. This is the life temporary, testing growth, ground to be far before us, pass on to the eternal life of the hereafter when the ignorant make comments of possession because of the hijab, or believing woman known as this is simple, not true. Your Lordship can see. Why is hijab so religious practice? This I am giving, this has not been assessed to your Lordship. My Lord, in 621, our Prophet was taken during the night. He was taken to the before the Allah in the heaven. That is called Isra. That's called Isra, Mi'raj. He was physically and spiritually taken by Jibril. My Lord, there was a horse specially designed for him by Allah. He had two wings, so that he will keep, a prophet will about, he will ride, and the two wings, my Lord, will have the balance in the air. He was taken by Jibril alayhi salam to Allah, to Almighty. During the journey, my Lord, it was one full night journey. During the journey, my Lord, he was supported at one place. He asked Jibril, Mr. Jibril, tell me which is this place. I have seen women crying. Who are these women? The Jibril has told him, this is narrated in Quran and in covered in the Hadith also. I will come to that. Jibril told him, Prophet Muhammad, these are women of your ummah who were seen not wearing scarf and not covering their head and chest. And Prophet was showing they were crying. There were serpents around their neck, around their hair. The Prophet said, I will pray to God, forgive them. They said, no, unless Allah will forgive, your prayers will not matter because they have committed a sin. So this is in our mind, my Lord, that we have to face the day of the judgment. And the ladies are conscious. We are living in a democratic country where rule of law prevails. Your Lordship has seen, your Lordship is son of the Indian soil. We are all sons of the Indian soil. Your Lordship has seen the Muslim woman will be identified with the burqa. So it is not because of some compulsion. It's a religious entity. It's a sacred for us. And why? Your Lordship can appreciate. When this was narrated to Jibril, when Prophet came back during that night, he narrated to his colleagues. One of his confident friends, Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq, he said, I am weeping. Abu Bakr Siddiq said, why you are weeping? He said, I have seen the women from my ummah. They had not kept their private parts in that way in which Jibril has narrated to me. They were in really trouble in hell. So this is number. Now, your Lordship can see. We believe in that we have to face the day of the judgment, the Muslims. That's why our women are very scared. It is not by way of fashion we are asking our women to wear. No, it is, Quran has said that it is at the time of first period or when you attain the puberty, you have to cover your sisters and daughters with a scarf. It's mandatory for us. Your Lordship can appreciate. I will narrate to two surahs, which are very important for your Lordship. Why I am narrating, I know your Lordship may not be in a position to, unless your Lords have read. I know my Lords are encyclopedia of every literature. My Lords have read. I read one surah, which is very relevant to this hijab. It's very important. My Lord, the God says, Sabi isma rabikal Allah, allazi khalaqa fasawa, wallazi qadara fada, wallazi akhrajal mara, fajalahu gusa'anawa, san ukriyuka falatansa, illa mashallah, innahu yahlamun jara wa ma yakfa, manu yasrikal yulisra, fazagri nafati zikra, sayazakaru ma yaksha, vayata jannabu halashka, allazi yasla naral kubra, summa la yumutu fiha, wala hayaha, qadaflaha man tazaka, wa zakara asma rabbi, fasala bal tusiruna al hayatu dunya. Inna hazala bi subirullah Sufi Ibrahim wa Musa. Here he says, Qad aflaha man tazaka. Wa zakar asma rabbi fasalla fi dunya. Your Lordship, it is said that dunya is this world, is artificial, and better is the eternal life. So please don't carry the sin. The same way the fate has made by Hazrat Musa, Moses, and the Ibrahim alayhi salam. So please be ready for eternal faith. Don't commit. This artificial life is only for 100 years, 60 years, 70 years. You have to face the day of the judgment. Please don't come. Then another surah is very important. It's a big surah, but I will cut short. It is said, I will read it, my Lord. Then another is Al-Hakumul Takasur, Hatta Zuttumul Mukabir. Mukabir is a grave. When you enter the grave, it means that you are accounted for your sins. The first question which will be asked to Muslim male or female would be, what was your religion, who was your prophet? And the lady will be asked